Just for instance, Mick Foley. Mick Foley was a guy that gave everything to this business. We talk about kayfabe, how it was back in the day, and keeping the business, real close, to you know trying to make the people really buy in. And you got a guy like Mick Foley who, pretty much was thrown off of the sale and then went through the sale. Mick Foley could have died that night.
Mm-hmm.
He Mick Foley could have died that night in the middle of the ring. And I tell you, if you ask Mick Foley today if he would do it again, he probably would say, "Yeah, I'd do it again," and he probably would add "bang bang" on top of it. So yeah, man, it's as real as it possibly can be. Talking, just say for instance, of Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was a guy that was very, very, just say polarizing, coming up in his career because he was a guy that was willing to go out there and do whatever it took to be the number one guy. And then Shawn Michaels was a guy that got into a lot of trouble. Yeah, had a lot of downfalls. But one thing that trumped everything that I always felt was talent. This guy was one of the most talented performers that I've ever seen go out and do it in the middle of that square circle. And that right there, like I said, when you're putting butts in seats, man, I asked, Shawn Michaels, did you know you was that good? And the answer I got is what I think people are going to be interested in more so than the question, because when you're in the zone, man, when you're in the middle of it, it's a storm. It's like a tornado. You got that vortex going, and you can't get out until it stops. And that's what Shawn Michaels was all about.
So are these legends? They're on the show with you?
Some of the legends are on the show via Zoom, and some in studio as well.
Awesome. Well, you know what? You mentioned that about Mick Foley, and I just found out he has a podcast out called Foley is Pod, which it's a great name. And I listened to the first episode a few days ago, and phenomenal show. I actually really recommend it. But here's what I gained. I already had a lot of respect for Mick Foley and just what he was able to do and what he was able to give to the industry and to the fans, more importantly. But the insight this guy has of he didn't do anything without thinking it through. You would think after seeing him on TV, he was just reckless abandon, right? But he even talked about how he wanted to do an elbow drop on The Undertaker off a TV truck. And when they asked him why off the TV truck, he said, I was thinking about all the great camera angles they could get with that shot. One from down below, a crane shot over here, the floor cam this way, the hard cam that way. And just the thought, you would think, oh, I just want to get a big pop. But he was thinking about television and movies. It's something that I hear you talk a lot about to the students at Reality of Wrestling, right? It's just Shakespeare. This is movies. And so he really great insight on that stuff. Really.
Well, just think about it. Mick Foley, he's not your prototypical superstar that's going to be the world champion. You look at him, you go, that's not the guy. But Mick Foley, kind of like one of my students back in the day, Gustavo Mendoza. He wasn't the most talented, guy from a physical perspective or anything like that. But his mind, man, was sharp, and I think that's what Mick Foley had more so than any of us, man. He was so smart to the game and knowing what it really, really took to make the fans move, feel. And the thing is, Mick Foley put his own body on the line to make all that happen. So he was, like I say, Mick Foley is like Evel Knievel. Okay, he's the professional wrestling Evel Knievel because he did all of his own stunts, man, and every one of them was man so close to reality.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is this too, to have this established career, and I almost kind of want to pose this to you, to have an established career as Cactus Jack for so long, King of the Death Match, there in WCW, had a long run with WCW, went over to ECW, just kind of this aura, this legend in his own right. And Vince McMahon brings him into WWF. And what does he say? I want to change his name and cover his face. Right. And so Mick Foley or Cactus Jack comes in, has to wear a mask and go by Mankind. Right. And to me, to still say, you know what, I'm taking what they're giving me and I'm gonna make it work. Because that gimmick shouldn't have ran as long as it did. But he found out how to evolve it, how to connect with the audience. And like you said, somebody who wasn't a prototypical top guy became the world champion.
Well, Mankind, just think about this for a second. I know we got to take a break here in a minute. Think about this for a second. Mankind was literally neck and neck. I would think with the Undertaker at that time, and he was not as big as the Undertaker, but you believed everything that character brought, even to the point to where Mankind, when they made the mask, they made sure they left the part out where the ear was torn off from the match he had with Vader in WCW, just so the people can actually see the gore. This man has been maimed, just so you can have a real feel and come inside of what I tell you, man. The dude, no pun intended with the dude love deal, but he is a genius as far as this wrestling game goes. That's how much respect I got for Mick Foley, to call him a genius as far as this wrestling game goes. What's up, this Booker T, two-time Hall of Famer? I know you're checking out The Shine, checking out The Gloss. I want to thank you guys for checking out Row on YouTube. Hey, don't forget to click and subscribe to check out all the latest content right here each and every week. Now, can you dig that, sucker? Can you dig it, sucker?